By donating money to this cause, you are supporting quack therapy that kills people. You are supporting a treatment center that preys off of people's desperation and their fear of surgery, medication, chemotherapy, and radiation.
So, what is the truth about the Gerson therapy, you may be asking? Well, the truth is, and the Gerson therapy themselves will never tell you the truth, because if they do, then that puts them out of business. And quite frankly, the truth is, it doesn't work. Changing your diet to start ingesting I think it's like the 13 pounds worth of fruit and vegetables you need a day, even juiced, is incredibly unhealthy. Taking the 6 coffee enemas a day that will, A, give you a really good chance to end up killing you by dehydration, cause massive problems by taking loads of potassium out of you, and B, doing potentially so much damage to your colon that you lose control of it. Meaning that you will be put on a colostomy bag. That is what essentially the truth is about the Gerson therapy. It is dangerous. It cons people into thinking that they somehow have this hope when there is no hope.
Gerson therapy really has nothing to do with veganism. Gerson therapy is a cancer treatment protocol, and it's a rare case of a controversial topic on which I can recommend you see the Wikipedia article. The Wikipedia article on Max Gerson, the inventor of this therapy, is remarkably robust, well-cited, and factual. You can't consult Wikipedia for anything about Cambodia, anything about Buddhism, anything about Canadian politics even. Wikipedia can't handle. But Wikipedia has a remarkable denunciation of Gerson therapy and the reasons why it's not approved for use in the United States. Other important facts about this approach to cancer therapy you can get straight out of Wikipedia with no problem at all. And like anything else, there are people on the internet who defend Gerson therapy. There are people on the internet who defend it literally with their dying breaths. And there are people who bitterly condemn it for killing their loved ones or giving their loved ones false hope when their loved ones were trying to get legitimate treatment for their disease and instead only got worse and worse thanks to this very expensive and at least, shall we say, unproven approach to cancer therapy. I think it's rather sad that Unnatural Vegan is receiving so much criticism for having taken a stand on this issue. And I think it relates to a larger question or a larger issue of having guts, of taking risks when you're going to talk about politics. I guess even if you're going to talk about questions of health and nutrition here on YouTube. I actually sent a Natural Vegan fan mail when she first made that video, or when I first saw it. I think I saw it at the time it came out. Because I respected the risk she had taken. I really understood immediately how controversial it would be, how bitterly she would be hated for making her statement on Gerson therapy. And I knew that there would be people attached to particular patients, people who died or people who tried to get treatment in their dying days through the Gerson Treatment Center. I knew there would be people who hated her for that reason. I could immediately imagine a bunch of different angles from which she would catch heat, or she would be despised or ridiculed for having taken a stand on this. I saw a comment from someone who claims to be a personal friend, a relative of Jen Falusi, one particular woman who spent her dying days seeking out this treatment and actually raising money so she could get this treatment, she could afford this treatment. And one of the statements in passing there from someone who's apparently a relative or friend of someone who got this treatment said, well, I don't care at all if this treatment is just a placebo effect. It made my loved one happy, so I don't care in the least if the effect is merely a placebo. Well, there are some people in the world who care passionately whether or not it's a placebo effect. There are some of us for whom it is actually of crucial importance whether or not this is a placebo effect or whether this is legitimate medicine. And for some of us, that's really a life or death matter, because ultimately it does relate to whether or not other people getting that treatment live or die. And I understand that you're going to be perceived as cavalier, insensitive, offensive in the extreme, that you're going to hurt people's feelings if you come out and make a stand, as Unnatural Vegan did, in saying, no, this is not legitimate science. There's a good reason in this case why the different American government authorities do not approve this treatment. And there are some other channels. There's one now called Bowler Hat Man that have videos really delving into the history of how this treatment even came about. Bowler Hat Man has videos. He read the original book that this treatment is based on, the book by Max Gerson that first proposed these ideas, the original case studies of people allegedly being cured or improving because of this treatment, and so on. It's no laughing matter. But for me, I mean, the broader question is really one of having guts, of taking risks. I've very often put up videos on a topic within veganism, and then I search YouTube to see who else has made a video on the topic, because I think they're major or important issues, and I can't find anything. There's a huge number of videos about a certain boyfriend breaking up with his girlfriend within veganism right now. I think there's a huge number of videos about my own divorce. My divorce happened 3 years ago, and there's nothing interesting or exciting about it, but a lot of people want to talk about that. Now, of course, that's shallow, and that's catty, and that's gossip, but it's also safe. You know, you're not really taking a risk by gossiping about another vegan sex life. You're also not really making any contribution to the future of the movement or the progress of science, shall we say, or what have you. When I made the videos criticizing Sam Harris, you know, it's taking a risk, and people hated me for that. There are organized fans of Sam Harris. Sam Harris has continued to take a kind of wishy-washy position on veganism and vegetarianism. He seems to change his position every few months, and at some points he's been kind of openly anti-vegan, saying that he tried it but just couldn't do it, and at other points he said he's trying again or what have you. Sam Harris is, I think, the kind of high-profile figure who really deserves criticism, I mean, perhaps encouragement, whatever, reserves a response from vegan voices on YouTube, and I see him just not getting it. But yeah, there is an element of risk there. I think there are still people watching this video today. There are people who are regular viewers of mine who discovered this channel because of my criticism of Noam Chomsky. Noam Chomsky has a huge number of fans on the internet, organized fans. If you're going to come out and criticize Noam Chomsky, as I did, for what he has to say about veganism and animal rights, you're going to get a considerable amount of heat, of criticism, of negative response for daring to say that. This incident with Gerson therapy, with Unnatural Vegan taking a stand at Gerson therapy, that's the only time I can really remember her taking a stand that way, and taking a risk. And I wish she'd do more of it. But yeah, I think if you're going to come out and talk about anything meaningful and really important within veganism, within vegan politics, there is an element of risk. And I think it's sad to see someone like Unnatural Vegan being punished for having taken that risk on something that is of profound importance to her. It's not important to everyone. I just quoted this one person says they don't care in the least whether this is a placebo effect or it's a real medicinal effect. Well, for some of us, that's extremely important. That's the meaning of life. That's a matter of life and death. That's a matter of science versus pseudoscience or whatever. It's to some people, that's incredibly important. And I have to ask you guys to sympathize with Unnatural Vegan to an extent. Even if Unnatural Vegan were wrong, and if you read that Wikipedia article, I think you'll be convinced that she's not wrong. I think you have to sympathize with her perspective, because from her perspective, she is opposing a dangerous form of pseudoscience that actually costs human lives, that gives false hope to the sick, that takes money away from people who probably don't have that money to spare, and that ultimately does result in deaths for people. I've asked that kind of question before on the many videos on this channel about vivisection. Again, a risky topic. Why doesn't Unnatural Vegan address that? I'd love it if other people would take these risks and really talk about vivisection, the use of animals in medical sciences. There are so many issues where I feel like I'm the only person willing to take that risk. And people do hate me because I spoke about vivisection within veganism. I ask you to sympathize with the scientist, even if that scientist is wrong. If you were a scientist who really believed you were doing important research finding the cure for cancer, but finding that cure for cancer involved killing animals in a world where the other people working in that laboratory are probably wearing leather shoes every day. Leather shoes kill animals and don't find a cure for cancer and don't make the world a better place in any way whatsoever, etc., etc. I think you can sympathize, even if the scientist is wrong, even if his research turns out to be worthless and useless and discovers nothing. I think you can still sympathize with the perspective that leads him or who to make that choice, to commit to torturing animals to death in a laboratory because something is so important. It certainly should be much easier for us to sympathize with someone like Unnatural Vegan being a bit insensitive, being a bit crass, being a bit of a jerk, but to do so on a topic that is of such tremendous importance to her from her perspective.
Many of you see this as lacking compassion. Even those of you who acknowledge that Gerson therapy is bullshit, you believe that to deny a dying woman her final wish to die in peace and comfort is just cruel. You aren't giving money to help Jen when you donate. You are giving money to quack therapy and con men who are preying on Jen. These people will use your money to advertise their services to more victims after they've finished with Jen, only luring away more people from legitimate medical treatment and to their deaths.
À-bas-le-ciel.